This jumpsuit is so easy to make.
How easy is it?
I don't know, I haven't tried yet. I want to make some incredibly easy knit clothes for summer. There we go, that's the title of this video. I have a couple ideas, a couple garments that have been on the list, and they all seem so quick, so simple, like such easy makes. But my brain makes stuff up sometimes. So are they really as easy of makes as my brain is advertising? That's what we're gonna find out right here, right now. Over the course of however long this takes, which theoretically shouldn't be that long. First thing, the thing that I've been thinking about for ages, is this like overall jumpsuit sort of thing. I have a very specific memory of seeing some sort of video on how to make this garment and like a zero waist or low waist or just really fast way. And I dug around everywhere. I tried every keyword I could think of and I came up flat. I cannot find this video. Maybe I dreamed it. If so, this might turn out poorly. Here's what I supposedly recall though. You take a piece of fabric, fold it in half hot dog style, cut a slit down the center, and sew up the two sides. It folds open this way into that sort of like saggy crotch harem pant style overall. Like this is your crotch, these are where your ankles come out, this is your neckline, and then you just kind of throw some straps on there and you've got like a jumpsuit thing. Please confirm to me if you have ever seen a video or anything on how to make a garment like this, because I lightly feel like I'm going insane. I got this very soft and very cute and very comfy knit at F&M Fabrics specifically with this garment in mind. So let's see if we can make it happen. Oh, God, it's so soft. I'm okay. Thank you. So if I thought that I would be using all or almost all of the fabric, I think I would start by cutting out the binding for the neckband and pockets. But I'm pretty sure I have like 4 yards of this, so I don't think I'll be using all of it because my legs are not 2 yards long. So engaging the brain logic. Wouldn't it be basically from your underarm to your ankle? Stop swaying. I have 48. I think I might just do 50 to be safe, because a little extra looseness would be good. That's the thing. This is supposed to be very drapey and comfy, so the only thing you don't want to make it is too small. So 100 inches is gonna be my total length. Yes. Yes. Yes? Oh, that's really long. Okay, I just said I'm gonna have so much extra fabric, but that's as long as the fabric. That seems wrong, because it seems too long. Does this slit down the center play into it? Or do you really just need this much fabric? I think you might actually just need this much fabric. Huh, okay, I take back everything I said about having plenty of extra fabric. Neck binding, pockets, and I'd like cuffs, because I wanna whoosh in the legs. This is a necessary measurement, I promise. I could put elastic in the cuffs, but if I'm gonna put elastic, then I could just put that in the pants itself. I don't need a separate cuff. The whole point of this was like, this was pretty cheap fabric, so if it doesn't work out, that's fine. I'm just trying a thing that maybe, once upon a time, I either saw or hallucinated, but I made the mistake of getting cheap fabric that I love so freaking much. So now, I really want this to work. The stakes have been raised. Okay, I think if I just cut off a thin strip on the end, that should be plenty for the neck binding going all the way around. Like, right? But if I don't have enough, I'll be so annoyed. Is it really a good project if you're not questioning everything as you go? Okay, I'm gonna do double the amount of binding just so that I'm prepared for mistakes, because if there's one thing I know about myself, it's that I should be prepared for mistakes. Binding. So these are gonna be my front pockets, or like front side seam pockets. That does leave me with this thing right here that I have to cut off, so I think I'm gonna turn those into like big old back pockets. Am I filming right now? You know, there's always like 1 or 2 times in every video that I'm making where just in the middle of filming, I suddenly question if I actually hit record. So those are more pockets or theoretically cuffs, because I just realized I could just make these cuffs. So whatever I have left, this is what it's gonna be. The difference that that'll make is how long the legs are basically. So maybe it'll be capris, and that's just how it's gonna go. You know, you would think that most yard work would happen in the morning, but it actually mostly happens in the afternoon here. Yard work is the reason that I do not take the weekends off, because it's the quietest time to film. While somebody edges everywhere, I'm gonna go get a snack. I made Jemmy oat bars with homemade cherry jam. These are so good. They've moved further away, huzzah. Okay, anyway, so the length of the slit that you cut, or rather, the length that you don't cut, needs to be your aroundness. Basically from where you would want your neckline to end to, you know, somewhere in the back. We don't have to be picky. Bye! That's about 50 inches for me again, which only gives me 5 inches to cut here. Yeah, this makes sense. Yeah? It makes so much sense that I'm gonna pin everything together and try it first before I actually sew things. When in doubt, pin it out. Yeah? I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the look. It's real drapey here in the middle, but as far as like comfy goes, they're definitely comfy. I'm mostly not sure about the hem of the pants because it's very, very slanted due to, you know, everything, the way that it's cut, the way that it's designed. But this, I think, works, so I'm gonna sew it. I started by finishing the edges of those front pockets. I'm gonna leave the back ones off for now until I decide if they need to be turned into cuffs, even though sewing them on at the end will be a pain in the patootie. Sometimes that's just how winging it goes. Then I could stitch the pockets onto the front side of this massive chunk of fabric with 2 tiny slits in it that is somehow gonna be a comfy jumpsuit, before sewing the sides together to about 8 inches away from those slits. I went ahead and bound the front and back V-shapes, the slits themselves, after that, cause the tension pulling on them was making me nervous, and then 'twas time for another test. Whatevs. That didn't work. Whoo! Always wear sports bras when doing sewing and fittings, cause you can just pin everything right to them, and it's super duper useful. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some straps on this. I need to do like a full circle that goes around the armpit and then creates the straps. And then I'll be able to put it on again and decide if I'm gonna do a cuff, if I'm gonna do elastic. Either way, I think I'm gonna turn them into capris or knickers, which is fine, cause like with something like this, that's this cozy, I kind of prefer a shorter length anyway. Admittedly, in an attempt to do this the easiest way possible, I made my binding / straps very oddly. I turned the binding into a tube and sewed that onto the inner edge of the armpit V so that the part that is the strap will have fully finished edges. But, it's messy as heck. Everything is fine. Can I put this on my mannequin? It's got a pretty saggy crotch. Yeah. I don't know that this is actually any more helpful. Back off you go. Lord. Hi. 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 Okay. My straps could definitely be shorter. I don't really mind it down here, especially because you just kind of throw it on over a sports bra and it's more like overalls. But it makes my pockets kind of too low, and it definitely doesn't need to be this low. So yeah, I could take like 2 or 3 inches out of the straps, which I might just do very sloppily, because why not? And then yeah, I think on the legs, I will put a cuff on them and maybe even put a little bit of elastic in the cuff. I kind of like them being all loose and breezy, but I think I'd like them more cuffed. I might also quit for the night, but we'll see how things go. I don't know. I did end up sewing one of the leg cuffs on that night, but then realized it was later than I thought and dumped the other one till the next morning. Basically, I'm doing an elastic cuff, but also with gathering, because the leg itself is of course 60 inches in circumference. So that gets gathered down first and added to a cuff that's like 18 inches, and then that gets elastic in it to actually be the size of my calf, or rather, potato of the leg. I'm gonna do a whole rundown and ranking of exactly how easy I found each of these at the end, so stay tuned if you want to hear the jumpsuit process get roasted. But for now, we are moving on. Next on my list of very simple knit garments, I got this fabric remnant, surprisingly, not at Remainders. What? I got it at Joann, out of the clearance bin because I saw strawberries and I literally couldn't resist. It's not very much fabric, so I was thinking about making just a very simple pair of elastic waist shorts out of it. Basically, bloomers. And I still might, that's my fallback plan. But then I recalled one of the absolute favorite garments of my youth. Let's go back to the whiteboard. We were not allowed to wear short skirts, big no-no list from my mom, but I got this light blue knit skirt one time, probably early high school, and she allowed it because it was technically a skirt. It had attached shorts underneath. Loopholes! I was great at loopholes. So yeah, not a lot of fabric here, but I do have a lot of other knit, so can I use the strawberry print to make the skirt and then make the shorts underneath in something different? This should be super simple because it's all just elastic waist, so you just make everything to the size of your hips, put elastic in it so that it fits to your waist. Yeah, that's about it. Am I gonna put pockets on it? I have to. It's a requirement. They won't be very big though, because it's gonna be a pretty short skirt, so, well, I guess that's not an excuse. These pockets are plenty big and these are shorts. Okay, fine, it's getting pockets. Of course it's getting pockets. Number one question is, can I get a circle skirt out of this amount of fabric? I wanna say yes, but also the answer could be no. This process would have been a lot easier if I wasn't trying to eke so much out of so little fabric, but such is the way I so often operate. In order to get a full circle out of the strawberry print, I had to make it only 15 inches long, which is pretty short, but also, wasn't that the whole point of the shorts underneath? I think it'll be okay. Also though, the circumference at the top, while bigger than my waist, wasn't quite as large as I desired, so after much musing, like much musing, I decided to add 2 strips of fabric to the sides to widen the whole thing and feel safe. I like to feel safe, and that safety comes from making everything bigger. But then I realized I could stick some patch pockets on these strips that are just big enough for a phone, very athletic legging style, so that takes care of the pocket problem. Over on the short side, I once again had barely enough fabric, and yeah, I just kind of took the basic measurements I needed. 11 at the top, 12 at the bottom, 15 inches long. And futzed around till the cows came home. It'll be fine. Up to the side, higher to the back. That makes sense, because we have butts. Wouldn't that be fun if I was like, surprise, I got a cow. We're winging it. I'm pretty sure that's not allowed where we live. That's fine, I'm sure. Waistband. It's longer than I need, so I can just cut it off to match. Bam! That is that. Let's sew it together. Okay, y'all, this has been the first time I've really directly compared using the knit presser foot with not using it. Because for some reason, I didn't use it on the jumpsuit, and yeah, there was some pulling and some stretching, nothing too drastic, and I steamed it out decently well with the iron, also I'm just not that picky about it. But this white material I'm using for the shorts is even thinner, so normally it would stretch and pucker even more. But I switched to the knit foot and it's doing great. Barely any stretching out at all. So even though I tested it and then I've used it several times, I feel like this is the first time I've really noticed the results and known for sure that they like happened and all that. Anyway, all that to say, if you want to sew on knits and you don't have a serger, a knit presser foot might be a worthwhile and also comparatively small investment. But as to the construction itself, I just sewed the 4 pieces of the shorts into a shorts shape.
Boom!
And then pieced together the back halves of the skirt, added the side panels with those patch pockets, and then stuck the front half on there. Then I stitched the shorts and the skirt together around the entire top, stretching the skirt ever so slightly here and there to make it fit, because of course they weren't perfectly the same size. Who are we kidding?
We're getting places.
I cut the long waistbands down to the proper size, sewed them into a loop, and then added the whole loop onto the skirt. I then started adding the elastic by sewing it into a loop first and then stretching it as you sew it into the waistband, which is totally a thing you can do.
Do I regret this? Just do it the easier way. You're supposed to be doing the easy way here. Stop doing it the harder way.
But yeah, it felt harder, so I switched back to the easier and more well-known to me method, sewing the waistband down into a tube, stringing the elastic through, and then closing up the hole.
Are we done?
What?
I'm so happy with this. Okay, I just have to hem everything, and then I think I'm gonna put a row of stitching on the elastic just to make sure that it stays down and stays where it's supposed to. I might even put 2 rows of stitching and go nuts. And then we're done, and on to the next thing.
It's gloomy. We've settled into this rhythm for the last like week or so, I want to say, where in the morning it's dark and gloomy and overcast and kind of chilly, but then the clouds all clear by like noon, and we have a lovely, warm, sunny afternoon. So you better do that today. I'm counting on you. So finally, my last hurdle in this easy knit challenge, because yes, I've dubbed it a challenge now, I got this pink ribbed knit from my Swanson's haul. I don't know why, because it's just a plain ribbed knit fabric, so, you know, there's nothing that special about it. Why did it inspire a specific design? But it inspired a specific design. To the whiteboard! I gotta stop coming out here and then going back there. It's so much carrying you around. So I had a big bodycon dress phase of my life. That is what they're called, right? Like the stretchy form-fitting dresses. Should I look this up or just keep calling it a bodycon dress and hope that I'm right? The latter. Always the latter. I tend to be into much looser, flowier stuff nowadays, but that's not to say that I don't like the style anymore. It's just not like huge for me. But the pink fabric instantly made me think of a bodycon dress. Sure, that's what that is. Maybe with like an extra panel on the sides and then some lacing. So it's adjustable. You know how much I love adjustability. So theoretically, why did I bring my marker with me out here? So theoretically, a bodycon dress is just 2 pieces of fabric. Oh, this is really soft. That's why I loved it. Adding the panels is of course making it a little less easy, but at the same time, I'm kind of making it more easier, because adding the lace-up panels makes it even more adjustable. Like ribbed knit stretches a lot, so you can really make 2 panels and maybe like a little bit of shaping on the side, but like basically they'll just kind of fit you. I mean, assuming you made them the right size, but like they will stretch to all the different shapes of your body. Hence bodycon, body conforming. So I would need a front panel, a back panel, and then I think I'll make the side panels triangles so that there is more fullness around the knees, because that's honestly my biggest thing with bodycon dresses. I'm not like, oh, I can't show my tummy. We all have tummies, it's fine, you can show your tummy. It's usually about the fact that it's tighter around your legs, and I take very big steps. Like I specifically trained myself when I was a child to take the longest strides that my legs are capable of taking. And I don't really like to have that restricted by the size of my dress. I do have a crop top that I never wear because it goes with nothing and I don't wear crop tops much, but it's a nice racer back shape. Racer back? Yeah, racer back. I always want to say razor back, but no, I do know that this one is a racer back. Why? Which kind of racer? Like a running racer? Or a jockey? A car racer? Give me your best guesses on where the term racerback came from. Don't look it up, just guess. I traced this when I was making a crop top to go with my big silver pants, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna use this as the guide for the top of the dress and then just extend it. 34-ish from the armpits. You know, this whole tracing an article of clothing you already have thing, I'm always like, you should do that more. But I kind of realized the reason that I don't do that is I don't have a lot of store-bought clothes that I consider to be like a good fit or a thing that I really like, which is why I started sewing my own clothes. People are like, trace a pair of pants that you really love. And I'm like, I don't have a pair of pants that I really love because pants suck. Now that I've pinned this all on here, I don't want to cut this out and leave this chunk over here. When you're cutting things on the fold, highly recommend only folding over enough fabric to fit the thing that you're cutting. Don't leave all of this extra space over here, because now you have two pieces of fabric that are smaller instead of one leftover piece of fabric that's bigger, which means I just have to unpin all of this. Ah, good times. That was loud. Well, that's not even now, is it? That'll do, pig. Okay. Yeah. No. Pockets. How am I putting pockets on this? I will cross that bridge when I come to it, but probably on the side panels in that sort of patch pocket style, probably. I love when I act like my pins are just a very loose guideline. They kind of are. It's not like I was that precise while doing it. Why did I just unfold that? Lace high. Pockets. So then I need binding, lacing loops, and lacing. Okay, let's do it. After a healthy bit of procrastinating, healthy because I went outside and got a bit of sun. Why do I not have any pink thread? I mean, that'll have to do. I started with the laces and the lacing loops because I'm gonna need those sewn into the side seams of the dress. Hello? I love diving into a project on a Saturday, not because the weekend means anything to me, but because a bunch of my fellow YouTubers put out videos on Fridays and Saturdays, so there's always this lovely chunk of new stuff to watch. This kind of super stretchy ribbed knit is one of the harder fabrics to sew on with a machine rather than a serger, though not as bad as stretch velvet. Ooh! So even with the knit foot, I was getting a lot of puckering. Well, that's incredibly wavy. I don't love that. The best suggestion I can give for this is to only use straight stitches vertically on the fabric. Oh, that's way better. If you're sewing perpendicular to the ribbing, a zigzag stitch will not only give you some stretch in that final seam, but will also reduce the stretching and puckering from that seam quite a bit. Okay. Bam! Despite the fabric being more persnickety, the sewing was still super easy. I stitched the pockets onto those triangles and then added the triangles to the front and back panels, getting those lacing loops in as well so that I had a tube. Connected those top straps, turned it right side out, then I could try it on to make sure it all works. Oh, pink gets massively washed out on this thing, doesn't it? The camera cannot handle pink. But y'all, I like this so much better than I even thought I would. I'm really happy with it. It's looser than I intended, probably because I made these wider than I intended. And these I think could have been just slightly higher for my body shape, but it's not like I checked or anything, I just sewed them in there. It's not really a bodycon dress anymore at all, it's just like a knit sundress, and it's really comfy and I really like it, so success there. It's binding time. Yay.
My favorite part!
I went with the 80% rule for the binding length, only I also rounded down a little bit and then I didn't leave any seam allowance, so it probably could have been a bit bigger. I stitched it all on with a zigzag once, flipping and stitching with a zigzag top stitch because I decided early on that the hot pink thread and zigzag stitching would be a creative design choice on this dress. Let this be your permission, suggestion, validation, whatever it needs to be, that you can do something the easier way, call it a design choice, and love the results. But yeah, the binding was a bit short, so there's some puckering on all of it, but you know what? That's totally okay because the dress stretches slightly when you wear it, so all of that will stretch away and look completely normal.
Yeah, see, it all stretches out when you're wearing it, and there's no puckering, so there's no need to panic about it. Oh my god, it's so comfy and I love it. I just have to throw a hem onto this thing and then it's done. That's our 3 items for today, or this video. Took me 3 days. But as expected, the sun has indeed come out. Took a little bit longer today and it's still not that late, which is great because I haven't done the dishes in like 5 days and I need to go do that. Tomorrow, I shall show you all 3 and we'll chat about how exactly easy each one was. And by tomorrow, I mean right now.
Making a ball gown or a giant costume is really cool and lots of fun and always incredible, but there is a joy, a pure delight in making something super simple and incredibly cozy that you know you're gonna end up wearing all the time. I hope you all get to experience it at some point. Just making something useful and simple that you just love. It's so good. Anyway, that's two out of these 3 pieces. Let's talk about it. I need to fix this chair first. By the way, a lot of you have asked me where I got this chair because it looks like it's super comfy. I got it on Wayfair, but let me tell you first, don't go running out to buy it. It's not super comfy. I'm actually kind of disappointed with it, and this is why I don't like buying chairs online. You can't sit in it first, and yeah, it's not actually that comfy. It's kind of like stiff. Anyway, I feel like I should break the ratings up into like the cutting out and the drafting, since all of these are pattern free, and then the actual sewing. Like those are kind of 2 different things. So for this one, the cutting out gets an easiness scale of 8, maybe even 9. Cutting it out was incredibly easy. Like you don't even have to do the pockets. You could use a different kind of fabric or like pre-made binding for the binding. So the garment itself is literally folding a piece of fabric in half and cutting a slit. Incredibly easy. The sewing of this garment, however, gets a 4, mainly because of the binding. Probably what I would consider the hardest thing to sew on a stretch material is something very thin or small. Added to that is the triangles. All 4 of these points are V's, so putting binding into a V is an extra level of difficulty. And then you have the third thing, which is that it's also straps. It's not just binding, it's straps. So that for me made sewing this together actually pretty difficult, and like, it's bad. It is shoddy work because I didn't want to try to do it the more difficult way. I wanted to try to do it the easiest way I could think of, and that didn't work very well. So it's like, it's visibly bad. I don't care. I'm gonna wear this around the house all the time because like wearability, comfort, how much do you like it rating is like a 9.5. I love it. It is so comfortable. I will say, because it is so loose and drapey, I'm pretty sure you could make this exact same thing with a non-stretch fabric without having to really change anything. And that would be a whole lot easier because binding and straps and all of that stuff with something woven non-stretch is just like, it's a lot easier than doing it with knit. Strawberry skirt, I'll give it a 7 for easiness of cutting out. Technically for me it was like a 5 or a 6, but that's because I didn't have enough fabric and I had to get really creative to get what I wanted out of the fabric that I had. I think if you started with a decent amount of fabric so that you weren't trying to piece everything on there very specifically, it would not be as hard to cut out. Simple circle skirt, waistband, and even the shorts, not that hard. I will say the whole thing I intended to be higher up on my waist, and I was kind of surprised when it was like, surprise, it's actually like a low waist, almost on your hips placement. And I don't really know how that happened because usually when I cut out shorts or pants or anything with a crotch, I end up with way too much fabric and I have to cut it down to get it on my waist. So I was like, how did it end up being lower? Sewing it together, I would give an easiness of like 8. It was just a bunch of straight seams, and then folding over that waistband for the elastic is pretty basic. Wearability, comfort, how much do I like it is unfortunately like a 5 for me. And that is again really specific. I still love the design and the idea overall, and I will wear this one, I'm sure, but because it ended up being lower waist, and then for some reason, I don't know how this always happens, but my elastic is always bigger than it should be. And this happens with cuffs, it happens with waistbands, it happens with everything. I stretch it to where it feels comfortable, but like stretched so that it is tight. I'm like, this is perfect. And I cut it right there, and then I sew it into the garment, put the garment on, and I'm like, this is too big. And of course I didn't test it because I thought my measuring method was so perfect. So yeah, not only is the waist a little low, but the waistband is like comfortably okay in tightness, which means that like if I were to actually put my phone in the pocket, or if I move around too much, it just starts to slip down a little bit. Between that and then already it being a pretty short skirt, even with the shorts underneath, I probably won't want to wear that one out, but I will still wear it. Finally, the pink dress. Cutting out, easy ability, easy rating. I'd give it another 8, particularly if you have a sports bra, crop top, tank top, any kind of, you know, sleeveless top that you can use to trace. That made it so simple. Sewing it together, I would give a 7. Even with the lacing loops, the tubes for, you know, the lacing string, the pockets, all of that, and the binding. The binding on this is not as hard because it's 3 circles. And I did all of it the easiest way, which meant visible zigzag stitches. I am so serious when I say just make it a design choice. Put zigzag stitches visibly on the outside of your garments when you're sewing with knit, and it will make it so much easier to sew with knit. So I actually found the process of putting this dress together pretty dang simple. I'm still gonna knock it down to a 7 just because it did have binding and it had lacing loops and stuff. If you made just a normal bodycon dress that's literally 2 pieces put together, that's like a 10 in easiness. It's like 4 seams and you're done. Likeability, wearability, comfortability, comfortableness, comfortability. I give up, let's move on. 10, I love it so much. That fabric is so soft. This one is too, but that one's soft in a different way. It is so tactilely delightful. It's so simple and easy to wear. It's so comfortable, and I am so happy with it. straight up 10s across the board. Well, I guess not across the board because I only gave it a 10 on the last one. So I know that this wasn't like an actual tutorial or anything. I really don't like to do tutorials. I like to encourage you to wing it, to try things, to experiment, and to figure stuff out as you go. But I hope it was helpful if you are looking for some really simple things to start freehanding or to start you sewing with knit. I work with knit quite a lot to the point where I think I've kind of forgotten what's difficult about it. Not to say that I don't struggle with it, I literally struggled with it in this video, but I think I don't always articulate super well like the things that I'm doing to fix the problems, to overcome stuff, to make it work for me without a serger. So if you have any specific questions about how to sew with knit, how to cut out knit, how to freehand your designs onto knit, anything like that, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I will not answer them in the comments because sometimes visuals are just really necessary for answers like that, but I will gather them all up, and hopefully sometime in the not too distant future, I will make a video answering all of them and giving my advice as best as I can for how I've worked with knit and how I've made it work for me without a serger. And that's it, that's all. I'm gonna go be super comfy. Bye! So stretchy. Ew, what's on my foot? Oatmeal. Don't ask why. But I gotta wear the neon orange underwear eventually. Making... I'm fine. That never happened.
Well, I'm sorry that wasn't knocking, but I love you.
I'm just gonna sit here and post on Instagram while filming myself. I don't know why.